What's up, guys? I'm here with the one and only, formerly known as Enzo, but the real one. How are you doing, my friend?
Formerly known as Enzo Amore, currently known as Enzo,
Yes.
and real one is the brand. So just like, Triple H wrestles for the WWE, Enzo wrestles for Real One Entertainment. You know what I mean? Whenever I hit the road, somebody cuts a check, they ain't making it out to Eric Arndt. You know what I'm saying? They make it out to my business. So whether that be singing or you can't teach that ink, I'm incorporated and I have an LLC whereby which my entertainment prowess is able to explore new depths of character and opportunity in worlds that are far beyond pro wrestling. But I've been having a field day as of late. If the world is unaware, I've been getting in the ring over the past few months here and there sporadically. And it kind of happened organically through the likes of Gallows and Anderson and Talk and Shopomania, a pay-per-view that they threw with their loyal following that, basically paid for it through Patreon. And, these guys are now at Impact. The world of wrestling has seen quite a evolution since the last time I was on television.
And that's awesome, man. Like, let's dive into that for a couple of seconds here. I'm surprised my buddy's not in the chat just yet, but he goes on and on about how he was there when you were brought up to the main roster, and he has not heard anything else close to the amount of noise that was in that arena that night.
Well, shout out to your homie. Thanks for cheering us on that night. It wasn't just me, obviously. It was another guy, Big Cass, and that's what made it so special was the dichotomy and dynamic of big guy, little guy, easy story to tell, a lot of fun, and the catchphrases. Owe it all to the NXT crowd that got that shit over. Without the fans, you have nothing. So it's a humbling feeling. I'd never go back and watch any of the stuff that I did really, especially in those days. It was all just a blur, bro. It was a hell of a roller coaster ride.
No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, were they all organic? The punchlines and was that all like on the spot, like how you doing and soft and?
Yeah. Well, as the story goes, I had a promo against Mason Ryan in NXT. I had 3 matches, all against Big E, all that lasted about 15 seconds in NXT, and then I had showed up to TV tapings, got told I was going to be fired, and then after that, I got to go out there on TV in what I thought was going to be my bar story. When I got back home to New Jersey, I get to tell everybody about that one wrestling match I had. Pull it up on YouTube. But no, as luck would have it, a guy that went to Springfield College, as did I, also played football there. I ran into John Cena again that day, who was apparently highly impressed with my promo. So much so that he asked me to come down to the ring with him in NXT. And at that moment, I didn't realize I would be going over people's head when I told John Cena that I had a tag team partner when I really didn't. I was so green. I didn't realize that saying that Big Cass, my tag team partner, wasn't true, and that would get me heat. But next thing you know, me and Big Cass are out there with John Cena. I spell out the word soft. The Orlando crowd repeats it. I'm not booked on TV. I'm not booked on fucking live events for the next month. I show up to the next TV tapings. The whole crowd is yelling soft. Ryback is fighting with John Cena. Ryback has a dark segment. They ask us to go out after the taping that we were not involved in at all, to go out on the microphone against Ryback. His gimmick was feed me more. So I just said, how you doing, in between everything on the buffet line, because you have a real cheap date in the ring if you will take them to the local Golden Corral, ladies. So I gave it a little zinger about the feed me more gimmick. How you doing to everything on that fucking buffet line. I don't know how Cass thought of everything. He's good with the cheeses. Like the cheese promo in Wisconsin. This guy must have rattled like 12 cheeses off, and I just kept saying, "How you doing?" And the crowd just said it with us. So the crowd wants to be involved. It's like the YMCA when you're out there. My father was a DJ, and I was born to hold a microphone and be out there with the crowd. And you know, whether it be the Cha-Cha Slide, the Cupid Shuffle, the Macarena, I was leading crowds since I was a youngin'. So that was an organic thing that happened in NXT at a very, very, very incredible time. You know, there was no better time to be involved in that product, NXT, than to be involved in the stages of growth from FCW to NXT to Hulu to the network. You know, it was to the Barclays Center to, out there in the O2 Arena in London. So it was quite an extraordinary trip from going from local armories in Florida to my backyard in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. It was unbelievable, and we owe it all to the fans in that NXT crowd in that arena that got me and Big Cass over. Two guys that weren't booked, that the crowd got booked. Enough cannot be said about that. I feel like so much had happened with me and Big Cass at the end of our runs. Oftentimes fans seem to forget how magical those times were for the entire product. That is, there was Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, Enzo and Cass. It was a special time to be out there with Dash and Dawson and Blake and Murphy and the things that we were doing. Even the girls, Charlotte, Sasha, Bailey, Carmella, Liv Morgan. It was a fucking, just a who's who in that NXT locker room of talent these days that are spread across the board in so many places. Don't even forget about Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family, and and Seth Rollins and Big E and Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze and Ty Dillinger. That we were all there together at one point, getting paid $1,000 a week to sell out arenas all over the country. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers, and I wouldn't have had it any other way, because I'd rather have been broke and humble and having the fun that I was having and pinching those pennies to have a beer at the bar. It was a good time.
It's awesome that you mentioned that you're you did DJing and stuff. I know you asked me before we got live about my light. So funny enough, I DJ as well on the side as well, and that's what this light is. It's a DJ light. So I totally understand with the whole getting the crowd involved and jumping in there, because that's what you gotta do. You gotta entertain the people.
That's all they want, man. That's all the people want. And you could talk shit about a wrestling match when you watch it back like a Monday morning quarterback, and you can talk about the spots and fall in a moment's time to pop a crowd is an innate ability that cannot be taught. And to do it on a timely fashion, the ways in which some of the greats have done it, and I put myself right in that fucking elite category when I talk about myself and my career. I would never back down from anyone in a promo, in the ring. There's no one I wouldn't wrestle or step toe-to-toe into a program with and not draw and make money with. That's what this is all about at the end of the day, is how you make money with another person. And a lot of the times you can look at a roster in wrestling and think about ways in which you would make money with someone. And that's the way it was done in the days of old. And that's the way it should be done now is, sometimes I just look at the landscape of the entire business and you say, there's a guy that you want to work with in every single, wrestling promotion in the world. You know what I mean? It sucks that so oftentimes you got to sign an exclusivity contract, but I think that there's been finite ways that incredible talent have been able to maneuver around that, like Chris Jericho and Gallows and Anderson having the opportunity to work with Impact and with New Japan as I know it. And some of the guys in NWA that we see featured on AEW now, and vice versa. It's a cool world to be in as a pro wrestling fan. You never know where anybody's going to show up unless they're in that WWE world, because that is its own universe. But
yeah, exactly. Tonight was a perfect example of it. I didn't see any of AEW, but I heard. My Twitter blew up over one of the debuts tonight. Do you watch a lot of wrestling now and then, or?
I watch a lot of the old stuff. I don't get into the new product nearly as much.
Gotcha.
Very rarely do I watch the new product. I did go on my binges where I would keep NWA Power running on a YouTube
All right.
monitor in my home, and I enjoy NWA Power. That's for damn sure.
Who do you like there?
Well, I love Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. They were the reason why I was watching. And then I love the promo work that Nick Aldis was doing, talking about the 10 pounds of gold, and the way that he cherishes that thing. And I think that the longer they keep the title on him, the more they let him parade in this character as that being, his be all end all to existence is that 10 pounds of gold. There's nothing wrong with that. If he goes full blown heel. But at the end of the day, that's such a promo-driven, heavy product, and I love the way they edit. And it's cheesy, and it's not for everybody, but it's a different flavor of ice cream, and I fuck with it. I fuck with it heavy.
And I mean, so Nick's gonna be on the show in the near future as well. I mean, I'm friends with Ziggy Dice. I talk to him almost every single day. Same with Thunder Rosa, almost every single day.
I love Thunder Rosa as well. I think she's the top chick out there in this wrestling world. I'd love to see her work the likes of a Charlotte and Bayley and Sasha. And I don't know if her goal is to necessarily ever get to the WWE, but it'd be highly interesting to see some of that talent get poached in the WWE by an Impact or an AEW or a Ring of Honor, NWA, New Japan. I'd love to see some other big money investors like we've seen come into Impact and we've seen come into AEW that go and say, "Hey, Charlotte," you know what I mean, or "Hey, Sasha," "Hey, Bayley."
Yeah. I mean, we did just see Thunder Rosa on AEW on their last All Out show.
That's amazing. I didn't know she did that. That's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it was pretty cool seeing her on there, but. I do have to ask you, how did it feel to be like? Obviously, you played the video games you were in, right?
Oh yeah, I mean the first video game I was in, I played. Never played any of the other ones.
You were the main guy, like in the storyline or in the story mode there. That you're the first one that they would go up against in a promo. But you were the guy in the ring when when their character walked in to the performance center.
That's funny as hell, man. I didn't know shit about it. I spent my whole life wanting to get into a video game, and by the time I was in one, life was moving way too fast for me to ever sit down and do that. My life was very different than a lot of my peers that played video games a lot. They found the time for that, and they also found ways to make money off of it, which was very intriguing to me, because in my mind I was always like, how as a man could you find an excuse and time to play a goddamn game? My father would whoop my ass as a teenager if I was in the house playing video games.
I just got the stack of the old times right here.
I know the old timers are all good. I loved Halo as much as anybody in high school, but I was never afforded the opportunity to just sit around and play video games. And by the time I got older, other things and facets of my life that I became enamored with writing, and if I could find time to play a video game, that meant that I was missing out on the money in my mind.
Yeah.
And I refused to let that ever be, the priority. So at the end of the day, I never hated on them. But I never played the games.
Yeah, so I'm surprised you didn't know that.
All the guys backstage that played video games, they had heat with some of the older wrestlers.
Really?
For playing video games. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, play your game, do whatever you want. I just didn't want to play video games. I had to write these promos that I was rehearsing and ad-libbing and speaking to the world, while a lot of the guys that were in the locker rooms, they didn't have these intricacies within their promos and trying to do necessarily the things I was trying to do, not to take anything away from them because they were all in-ring technicians as good as any in the world. They're wrestling in the WWE, and you don't get there if you ain't fucking good. You know what I mean?
Dalton Riley said you destroyed me on the mic in the game. The way it should be, right?
Hell yeah.
So that brings me to that dance that you did. Was that did you come up with that, or was that like, hey, go out there and do a dance?
I saw my buddy Dante that I grew up with. He's actually Liv Morgan's personal assistant. He lives with her. He was at a bar and he was dancing like an idiot, and he did that. And I just thought it was the funniest thing. And I was like, I'm going to do that on TV tomorrow. But I just put my little twist on it, and that's literally how it went down.
And it got so over so quick too. You got all the little kids doing it.
Yeah, it was fun, dude. The chicken dance, they called it.
You selling that wild hair you had too. I never got one of those.
I got the guy right there.
Yes. That's awesome. But you had a nice title reign in 205 as well on the way out.
Fuck yeah. It was wow, what a roller coaster ride. Hell of a time. Really good time. Really good people. Great locker room. The 205 crew was some of the best wrestlers in the world. At one time, that program was really doing numbers, and it was in the top 5 on all WWE Network shows.
Yeah, I was watching, 100%.
So, hey, women lie, men lie. We know that, but numbers don't. And at that point in time, the guys that were on that show, along with me, the storylines that were being written up, and some of the funny things, and there was certainly things that could have went. We were on the verge of some really great things, some great work being done, and it's a shame. I felt bad. I let a lot of those guys down when I got shit canned. But at the end of the day, que sera, sera. I mean, God's plan, silver lining in every cloud, and it's always darkest before the dawn. And for me, it was the biggest blessing I had ever received. I think I would have died there. The rate I was going, burning the candle on both ends. I was just, drinking a lot, smoking a lot of pot, just to go to bed at night. And, you step off TV and you got to drive 200 miles and you get to the hotel, and, then you got to take a flight, that's 20 hours and get off of it and fucking wrestle that day. And, what are you going to do when you get back to the room besides drink with all the boys? And, it's not just me; it's a fucking whole conglomerate. And
yeah, and you did sacrifice a lot too for everyone. That respect from that. I mean,
what do you mean?
Well, I mean, everybody remembers that the incident with the rope.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I definitely I've sacrificed it all. I've left my body and life on the line out there on more occasions than one. I've broken my leg in practice, and when cameras weren't on, the craziest nicks and bumps and bruises that I ever got were never when the cameras were really rolling. You know what I mean? And the dives and the mistakes made and the botches and the slip of the punch and getting stiffed and all that shit, and earning your stripes and learning how to bump in the first days, and getting body slammed and catching a heavy bag off the top rope. And nobody ever gets to see that shit. They're never with you for it, and they don't know what you've sacrificed. But you would hope and you would think that I heard Deion Sanders speaking today in light of the Odell Beckham Jr. situation, that this dumb fucking slut bitch that's on this podcast talking about this girl banged 7 guys or sucked 7 guys off on the Phoenix Suns. She's bragging about it, and she's talking to this girl, and this girl's confessing that Odell Beckham Jr. likes to get shit on. This is a real thing that happened, and the world's going nuts about it. And poor Odell's mom is sitting there, and she's dealing with it. And Dion talked to her, and he talked to Odell, and he said, quite frankly, like, why don't you trust the guy that you've had a relationship with for a decade now? You've watched Gross since LSU. Instead, you choose to believe this girl who comes out the woodwork claiming this fucking thing or the other for a little bit of clout. And the numbers that these girls are doing is it's repulsing, because we all feed into it as a society. And I took the brunt of that at one point in my life. And I know what it's like to be in a situation like Odell's in today, because quite frankly, his is basically like, it's an accusation that's made out of someone's mouth. Mine was a tweet being made and an accusation. The police never even fucking called me once. I never got, not even a single phone call. If you think that they just let rapists walk around the street, you're fucking dead wrong. But we just read the headlines and we don't care about the rebuttals. And it is what it is. And people got to deal with the brunt of it. And they don't realize how families are affected. Exactly. And so that's why I never apologized. And I came out and said, hey, if you want to be a fucking dirtbag and believe some fucking hooker, at the end of the day, if you're listening to this girl 2 days after she accuses me, she's drilling herself with a dildo on Snapchat for money. So, I mean, does police see that real quick? Yeah, nobody gives a fuck the next day, though. So it is what it is, and you got to learn to persevere, not to let anything define you or any one human tell you who you are. And when you have a good heart and you're good natured and you know that, then you never feel guilt. So that's why I came out swinging, didn't apologize, and said I never would. I didn't take a PR campaign, try to hop on the Ellen show and tell the world how sorry I was for putting myself in this situation. I refuse to apologize for going out and having beers and getting laid. Okay? You know what I mean? Like, it happened to all of us. We've all been down this road before. But in this climate, guys, if you're a celebrity, if you're out there, you better know you have a target on your chest. You better be fucking smart about it. And you better not let a girl shit all over you if you're Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, man, it's all just to make a name for themselves too, to try to, but they, like you said, they don't see the families or the friends or what they really affect the other person's life.
I got thick skin. I was able to deal with that in a manner that most other people couldn't. I feel that I'm blessed that I've shown perseverance, and through that process, I've inspired so many people. Through the loss of my grandmother, making a song with her called Grace that's available out there on iTunes and Spotify and everywhere. Search Real One, that's my music. But just writing that song alone, it would have never happened. The music video would have never happened if I was on the road in wrestling. But instead, I got the last few months of my grandmother's life with her, and that was a blessing. So as you move forward in life, you know what I mean? You can never look back with regret. If you do and you dwell and you sit around and you think about what could have been, what should have been, and what would have been, like, I rest easy on my accolades and my accomplishments, because I know what it took to get them and what it took to get where I got. And nothing is a coincidence in life. And you don't have 110,000 people saying everything in unison, with you. You don't have people saying in unison with you by 100,000 out of mere coincidence. Two guys that got in that spot, me and Cass, had to eat a lot of shit to get there. And I'm done eating shit. I got where I wanted to go.
Like they say, things happen for a reason, right?
Yeah, everything happens for a reason in life. And now I know better. I know my worth. When the world knew that I was innocent, they stood by me, and 5,000 people showed up and filled Times Square.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Yeah, that was insane.
So why in the hell would I want to go take shit from somebody after that?
Yeah, right.
Doesn't make sense.
So someone wants to know about SummerSlam. I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about, right? The the one that you were front. Were you front row or second row?
Oh, that was Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, right? Not SummerSlam.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. As I said to you, I worked for the Real One.
Yeah.
They hired me to be there. That day was a tax write-off. It's it was a brilliant play and foreshadowed directly into the parlay of Madison Square Garden, Staples Center, Madison Square Garden. If I do it, I'd do it big, people. And you know, that was $2,500 spent to trend #1 in the entire world over Brock Lesnar, over Survivor Series, over the pay-per-view. And then when me and Big Cass invaded Madison Square Garden, it was the #1 trend in the world over March Madness, over the Final Four, over Bret Hart in the Hall of Fame, Bret Hart being attacked, over the G1 Supercard itself, Ring of Honor, New Japan. The #1 trend in the world that night was Enzo and Cass. So women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. I do never need to justify my means, what it is that I do. I let it happen right in front of people's faces, and they can either choose to hate it or embrace it. But at the end of the day, if they don't respect it, they're just disrespecting themselves because they're not speaking with ration. It was a rational thing to do, and going into business for yourself, of course. Who the fuck isn't in this climate? They can't even have a third party. You know, they can't do cameos. They can't have Bang Energy endorsements. Look it, I'm not living that life. So when I show up to your pay-per-view, that ain't for you. That's for fucking me. But hey, one hand washes the other, both hands wash the face. And I'm sure it didn't hurt you guys.
Did you get recognized at all walking? I know you had the disguise on, but
I was pretending like I was disabled.
Oh man, that must have worked. I mean, that's all I heard. I remember watching the show and then getting, you know, blown up by, oh, hey, Enzo was there. On that note, what do you think of the Thunderdome?
Oh, everybody wanted me to invade the Thunderdome, bro. I ain't got no place in wrestling without fans. Doesn't do it for me. If I can't hear the pop, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
So would that would your character would have worked in the Thunderdome then, or because I know that they're not, you can't really hear them. I'm sure.
I'm an actor. I can cry on command. So right now it seems like they need an actor more than they need a wrestler. If I was put in any situation there, I know that I would take the ball and go end zone to end zone with it. So I just don't. It's not the climate I want to dive back into pro wrestling head over heels. I'm very happy with my freedom and the way I am living my life right now. I think that, you know, maybe, you know, I'm 33 years old right now. I don't even have any kids. I mean, maybe if I had kids one day, it would make me reevaluate, you know, some of the things that I want to do and maybe wanting to wrestle in front of those children. I'm sure that's a reason a lot of guys got back in the ring like Goldberg, you know?
Yeah, we don't talk about that. But, I mean, I was in the Thunderdome last week and they were, it's unbelievable. They were telling us how to react to the show. You know, like, I had like a producer, someone in my ear the whole time saying, hey, like, we need big energy for this, or what did you think of this, or oh wow, that was whatever.
Well, I gets the crowd going and the mannerisms that it would if they were in the live action, so why not? But
yeah,
trying to make people feel like they're a part of it, trying to help the talent that are in the ring, I can't blame them.
Yeah. Someone wants to know if you'll ever go to GTS Wrestling. Have you ever heard of GTS Wrestling?
No.
It's a YouTube show. Grim, millions of subscribers. Often confused as Kevin Owens. They do like backyard stuff though, like death matches upon death matches, no rules.
I just went to a backyard wrestling venue in Detroit, Michigan this past weekend.
Yeah, they're in Jersey though. They're in their venues in Jersey.
See, for me, it was about there was a child there that is absolutely infatuated with me.
You gave away stuff to him, didn't you?
Yeah, I got him in a I held the belt with him, and that's what it's about for me at this point in my life, is giving back. I achieved everything I ever wanted to in pro wrestling and more. Never saw it happening. It was a roller coaster ride of a lifetime, and I find myself in a position where, you know, I think that just by speaking to me right now, you realize the difference between Enzo Amore and Eric. I'm very well articulated and not the guy that I portray on television whatsoever. I can definitely turn up. I know how to have a good time, and I know how to, speak. So that's afforded me great opportunities in nightlife. Going out and bending my elbow and having a good time. The nights don't run dry, but at the end of the day, I have an OnlyFans wrestling school that has a link in my bio. If you go on my Instagram at Real One, and I found myself in a situation kind of mentoring Brian Pillman Jr. over the past year, and watching a lot of wrestling with him and explaining to him how I do things and get in the ring with him, because Stone Cold Steve Austin told him that he needs to learn how to work like Enzo, work the stick like Enzo. So I just said, geez, Louise, don't I owe it to the business. I owe it to him. And when I did that, I ultimately got in the ring with Casey Navarro, who saw me and Brian Pillman Jr. running on my Instagram. And Casey's a young up and rising indie star that's done shots for, some TV, I believe. But, he's an indie guy, and Casey's a small dude, and he's got an uphill battle in a business built on giants, but he's charismatic as all hell. And as I got into the ring with these guys at my boxing gym here at State of Fitness Boxing Club on 73rd Street in North Bergen, New Jersey, where I am accessible, I have a boxing gym. So that's main venture, and a music studio. So really what it is these kids get in the ring with me, and we videotaped it. And I just went over basic things that come up in basic conversation when wrestlers are in a ring talking. And that information is beyond valuable, and people pay thousands of dollars for it at wrestling schools. And you can get it from the best in the fucking world, because ain't nobody got my resume. All right, kids, there's not a single wrestling school in the world where there's a guy out there running and promoting it in present day who is as, over in this climate. So I'm still relevant. If I can give you guys $3.33 lessons and $11.11 lessons, and you're a young, inspiring pro wrestler, I will break down television wrestling, why we do things a certain way, why I did things a certain way, things that I was told by Vince McMahon and Hunter, and and give away the secrets and the tricks of the trade that you pay thousands of dollars to go to a school for. And I mean, of course, you want to go to OVW and learn from Al Snow. That shit's going to fucking get you where you want to be too. This is just an added layer to what it is that you want to achieve in the business. And that's get over, be a star, make money, get your opponent over, tell a story, and not worry about the wrestling moves. Because if you can get people talking about things and man, you'll realize you can make a lot of money in this business and stay healthy for a long time. Healthier, minimal risks, and ride it like a bike, like Ric Flair, for 20 years off to the sunset.
But you can't go into it thinking that it's just going to be super easy. They're just jumping around on trampolines and shit like that. I mean,
no, there's valuable. People don't realize that I had the best training in the history of fucking mankind. Nobody in wrestling history outside of the guys that are currently in NXT have had the training I've had. You don't get the opportunities to be in the ring or breaking down film with Shawn Michaels or Triple H or Norman Smiley and Terry Taylor and Dusty Rhodes. Dusty's not even here anymore. I sat with that man for 5 years, So the valuable lessons that I learned at a time where people are trying to make it into the performance center, it's like, I'm not the guy to tell you how to act when you're in there. But I know I'm the guy who can tell you, what they look for, in little things in matches, like, air and holds and keeping things nice and crisp, and how to make things look like a scrap, and, cameras and how to work them, and tricks of the trade.
What would you say about the Raw Underground, or have you not seen any of that yet?
I haven't seen it. I don't watch wrestling anymore.
Yeah.
It's too difficult for me to sit down and watch that shit, man. I mean, yeah. I mean, just like you hear CM Punk talk about it so often, I find that me and him have a similar mindset when it comes to the product. You know, I have no holds barred attitude about it. You know, I'd be the first one to tell you this shit sucks because I'm the first motherfucker to go out there and tell you this shit sucks on the microphone, and you ain't gonna say shit about it because I'll fucking embarrass you. I will fucking embarrass you. You know, I'm Eminem and 8 Mile at this point. There's nothing you can say about me that ain't been said. So the wrestling world probably definitely lives in fear of what I might say on the microphone. But at the end of the day, if you look at my 6-year run in the WWE, I never even cursed on camera one time. Never had a picture with a beer in my hand. So this, you know, I guess you would say reputation I've garnered is as much of a work as it is a work shoot. I mean, suppose that it comes with the territory when you want to make it to the top. They say it gets lonely there. Well, jealousy certainly woes in the wrestling business, and I can't imagine me having a bitter bone in my body about anybody ever making money off of pro wrestling. If you're a guy out there and you want to make it in pro wrestling, and there's any way that I could possibly help you, I will gladly do that for you. I just, you know, got all I ever wanted to out of you know, that nut, and now I'm kind of, you know, moving in my own direction. But wrestling will always be in my heart and soul. I'll be passionate about it, and I'm working on something currently, a wrestling related project that will come to life very soon that will certainly have the world on edge.
Oh man, what a teaser that is. And so that basically answers that question. Somebody wanted to know if you would be seen back in the WWE or anything like that.
I didn't say WWE at all. I said a wrestling related project.
There you go.
But if you want to see me wrestle, I put 3 wrestling matches that I called on the fucking fly on OnlyFans. I wrestled me and Brian Pillman Jr. versus Kerry Morton Jr. and Ricky Morton. Then I wrestled Kerry Morton Jr. 1-on-1. And then I wrestled a kid named David Firestein in the 127 Arena in Grimsley, Tennessee. I met David. He told me that he worked 80 hours a week, paid $3,500 to go to Black and Brave Seth Rollins Wrestling School. His mother was 43, got knocked up at a bar when she had him. His grandmother was in her 60s. They both started selling drugs out of the house. He moved out by the time he was 16, dropped out of high school, went to wrestling school. He's 19. He loves Jesus Christ. He doesn't do drugs. He never drank. And he lives with another guy who loves Jesus as well. And a 15-year-old kid that they're trying to help out that were coming from similar circumstances. And I saw it as a worldly opportunity to give back to pro wrestling. And I called the kid out to the ring, told his story on the microphone in the arena before he came to the ring. And we had a match on the fly that he did not even know was about to happen.
Wow. Right.
I don't think anybody's doing that in this business.
No, right on the fly, like that's insane.
Take you in the ring in your 3rd match of your life and call it to you on the fly.
And how did it end up? Pretty good.
Well, we filmed his reaction backstage when he was in his ring gear and he had no idea that I was about to cut a promo and call him to the ring and have a match. So when David Firestein got to the ring, the only advice he got in the lockup was sell. When in doubt, sell. And you know how to take my finish, right?
We have an up and coming indie wrestler from the UK, actually, a good friend of mine. He goes by Johnny Bates. Any info or any advice you would give to him as an up and coming?
Johnny, I got to tell you right now, man, you need to get on my OnlyFans and buy each and every one of those lessons. There's a few free ones on there. It'll be a fucking learning experience like none other that you've had in this business yet. And I only know that because I've been getting rich off of it lately. I've been sitting on my ass watching this shit blow up because apparently nobody's willing to give out this information for $3.33. like I am, explaining to you in the ring how to work a rear chin lock and not let it go and not hit the ropes and break the hold and how we go through the chronological order of how you would want to get out of a headlock if it was a shoot. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, 333.
333 and 1111, man. I'm a numbers guy.
Oh yeah, so am I. 333 has a big thing in my heart there. But that's a story from another time. So Sunny Wolf, she's from Canada. She's a big fan of Tim Hortons. She wants to know if you've ever been to one.
Timmy Hortons. I just was at a Timmy Hortons, fucking Detroit, Michigan last week. I had Timmy Hortons, and no, I'm not a fan of Timmy Hortons. I'm a Starbucks or bust kind of guy these days. I will do a Dunkin' Donuts. I prefer Starbucks.
That's not gonna. Oh, she's mad now. What made
I can't get coffee from a place that serves, fried chicken sandwiches and tenders and French fries. I don't know.
What made you get into this whole wrestling promo world? Obviously, you're a great talker in the mic. What made you say, "Hey, I want to do that"?
Shawn Michaels. I mean, I just thought he was the coolest thing ever when I was a kid, and the whole scene in the barbershop, parlay that to Pamela Anderson at the Royal Rumble. I just knew what cool was when I saw it, and I knew what I wanted to do, and I think I did a pretty damn good job of portraying cool out to the kids and the people, as at least when I saw it from a marketing frontier.
Did you have one of those paper belts or one of those kid belts?
Oh yeah, I had the Intercontinental title, bro. White one.
Yeah. Anybody you used to wrestle with that's a kid or?
Shawn Michaels all day, every day.
Enzo thought about Adam Cole.
I've never seen an Adam Cole match in my life. I hear he's great.
Yeah, that's the great thing about NXT. It just keeps evolving. The same thing with wrestling as a whole. It keeps evolving.
Yeah.
But that moves you. I mean, you're into the whole rap game now. Yeah.
I've been concentrating more on rock and roll lately. I think a lot of the music that I'll be coming out with will be surprising to a lot of people's ears, but at the same time, I'm still writing hip hop and working on it. Actually, was featured on a song with Leo Rush. He just released a track that I'm on called Heat.
What's your go-to band?
My go-to band is Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner. Okay. Oh, classic there.
Besides them, the Rolling Stones, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blink-182.
Do you play any instruments or anything, like guitar or
no
drums, nothing like that?
No, sorry, Bob. I know how to DJ. I can produce a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah. Nah. As I always say at the end of these, I always open up to my guests I have on the show. Is there any questions you want to ask me?
Well, when did you first fall in love with pro wrestling?
So I was about 11-ish. Funny enough, the hurricane ended up coming to where my mom worked at the headquarters of the KB Toys, and I was raw along and got a chance to meet the hurricane and fell in love with it ever since. And then I saw him.
Hurricane Helms.
Yeah, started seeing him lose and lose and lose, and then this new upcomer, John Cena, came up, and that's who I've been a fan with ever since until he left. Well, left.
Is John gone now?
Pretty much. He rarely shows up. It's all about Bray Wyatt and the Fiend right now.
Yeah, who's the top guys there now? Roman and Bray and Seth?
Roman just came back as a heel, finally. And yeah, Seth and Bray Wyatt as the Fiend.
Are all three of them heels?
The Fiend, I believe, is a no. I believe he's a face. Roman's a heel. Randy Orton's doing heelish things again, kicking people in the skull. Drew McIntyre, WWE champion right now, as a face. But I mean, as a producer, as you know, like producing good music and all this other stuff, I mean, how would it be to produce a show? As there's been times where I'm watching these shows and being like, what the hell are they doing? Like, we had Baron Corbin dumping dog food all over Roman Reigns at one point.
I can't even imagine a situation where I was outside of a wrestling ring with cameras and oh god, suits and ties and production, and it seems so I mean, I could do it tomorrow. It just seems so far away. Yeah, I wonder how interested I'd be in. You know, I produced my own show at the world famous Comedy Store in Los Angeles, and it went extremely well. And yeah, I think it's easy, and I think I can do it. You know, produce my own show as well as anyone in the world of pro wrestling. I think I have a good gauge on what works and what doesn't. Who's over, who's not, why not. You know, I'm not the judge, jury, and the executioner on pro wrestling. I know that. I love the fact that in pro wrestling, you can go out there and just perform your art. And I would never want to take that away from any talent to go out there and do what they do. I just see so many times where we don't make sense of our work as performers. Little things, you know, like a guy gets drop kicked and you know, gets hit in the chest with the drop kick. Clearly, we're watching in HD, and he gets up selling his jaw, you know, and walks over to the corner holding his face. Like, bro, I just saw you get kicked in the chest, not in the face. Like a guy gets, you know, kicked in, you know, the back of his leg, and you know, he sells his ass, and it's like, you know, just go to where it hurts, go to the source of the pain, sell that. There's a reason why when we work a wrist lock, we defend it with both hands. It's just little things that guys do. That's 1980s hokey that I don't necessarily hate, depending on who you are in the ring. And so I'm the last guy to ever tell somebody really how to work and shit like that. I just, when there's holes in your game, because maybe, you know, it's one thing if Ricky Morton's in a wrist lock and he's standing there, you know, going like this, hoping the people come. You know what I mean? But if I'm Drew Gulak, you know, I'm fucking defending the hold, probably, you know, maneuvering my way into a, you know, a roll or you know, a catch to exchange holds. So there's just so much that goes into the world of pro wrestling, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. So it's a beautiful art. And I love the Adrian Adonises of the world, and the Roddy Pipers, and the entertainers that know how to put on a fight and a show and tell a story. And it doesn't need to be going out there and reinventing the wheel and calling spots backstage. We can do that shit on the fucking fly if you guys are as confident as I am.
That's a good point, Dalton, too. Yeah, Roman is a Paul Heyman guy now. Kind of shocked everybody. But, yeah, no, there was a really scary thing with Matt Hardy on AEW on their last show where he took a bump off of a, like, cherry picker kind of thing. It's supposed to land on the tables. And, like, he basically flew past the table and landed square on the back of his head.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it was definitely scary to watch. But yeah, so things do happen. I mean, it's not all It's not ballet like they say, right?
No, it ain't. It ain't, man. And it's no joke. And you know, I hope that people appreciate the sacrifices that so many guys make out there on a weekly and nightly basis to stay away from their family on the road. And you know, to me, you got to be a fucking lunatic to have a wife and kids and try to live that life. I think there's a time and a place and to attribute that energy. But if I didn't, you know, parlay what I was doing there into opportunities for myself outside of there, given the situation I was put into, you know, I'd be a failure. And shit, you know, my mom raised a Rolling Stone, not a motherfucking failure. I can tell you that, man.
What was it like working with Lana?
Oh God. And now the time for questions are over, my friends. It's been an hour. I appreciate that. CJ's a sweetheart. I don't really know her that well, so I can't really speak about her. It's about that.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I do appreciate you coming on. Where can they find you at?
Follow me at Real One on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, Real Space #1, Real One. And you know, the same goes for the other ones with the numerical #1, Real One, and then OnlyFans, Real One Wrestling School. Learn the things that you can't teach at You Can't Teach That Inc. You know, smoke weed every day, guys, as you can clearly tell. It's the end of the night. I appreciate my nightcap. I you know, I smoked the weed pen. It's good for you guys.
Well, I'm definitely thank you for coming on and spending your hour with me. And
yeah, I appreciate it, guys. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate being the modern day Rob Van Dam of this shit. Zero fucks given. You know, I got my medical license, so anybody wants to hate, go right ahead. But try to stay off the bottle, guys. Don't go too hard in the club. Keep your social distance out here. Stay safe in these streets. Be a certified G. If you want to get certified, go check out my OnlyFans. Bada bing, bada boom, realest guy in the motherfucking room. How you doing? If I had a dime for every time, you know, I failed and you know, I'd have 0 dimes. All right, because I don't fail at shit. If anything, I took the test, I crumpled it up, and I threw it in the fucking trash can. Because I know that what's on that test, the calculus, the fucking statistical bullshit, none of that shit, you know, on the history exam, none of it means anything to me, and not where I'm going. All right, you keep that bullshit. If we ain't talking money, we ain't talking about nothing, guys. Have a good one. All right.
Love it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next stream. Have a great night. All right.